Because the rate at which it is losing, you go back 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 1 million years, 10 million years, 1 billion years. What will be the energy? And now they say that it cannot last for more than certain years because the rate at which it is losing. So he said that he has proved that simply mathematically evolution is impossible. Just accepting all the calculations of the evolutionist, saying that at the rate at which the gravitational force and the energy, they are all losing, if you take it, then stretching it back to the billions of years, you are saying, your theory won't stand. Your theory won't stand. Everything will be burned up because sun's energy will be so much 10 billion years ago. So it's nonsense. That's what Wilhelm Smith said. You just cannot. The second law of thermodynamics just reinforces creationist explanation of man's origin. It suggests that the universe had a beginning. The universe had a beginning. It has to. In that beginning, the condition would have been the ideal. Then from that ideal, because of sin, it is going down. But there was a time when there was an ideal. That ideal has to be the beginning point. According to evolution, the ideal is yet to come. Yet to come. But that's impossible. Why? Because they themselves say we don't have the energy, the sun is losing its heat and light, the earth is losing its gravitational force, the ozone is going to go away, the oxygen is depleting, everything. So how can you have the ideal state coming? Another 10 billion years? Will it last? No, it cannot last. They themselves say that when little bit change somewhere happened, all the dinosaurs were killed. See? So that means that any change is going to destroy a life. So there was a time when everything was ideal. That ideal beginning can be made only by a creator. If evolution is right, then going back billions of years, the available energy in the world will be millions of times what it is today. But according to the first law, energy cannot be created or how can that be? So the first law of thermodynamics destroy them again. So if they say that at the rate at which it is losing now, you go back, add up what is lost, add up for a billion trillion years. We had so much more energy. But then your theory says energy cannot be. So that means that, there must be a God who in his creative activity must have started with certain amount of energy, and then the equations change but the energy remains the same. But useful energy decreases entropy. So that your chemical process, evolutionary process cannot progress, it can only digress. So that doesn't make any sense. Secondly, this suggests that the universe began as a highly ordered system. Wilhelm Smith says the second law of thermodynamics seems to describe the whole situation of our present material world perfectly, and the Bible very clearly confirms this description. For example, Romans 8:20-23 teaches that the whole creation is subjected to vanity or to destruction. Everything tends to go downhill to chaos and destruction as things starts today. The Bible exactly says that the starting point is excellent, and then it is in the entropy going down, the sin principle, everything contributed. Now, God promises that He is going to make a perfect. See, that only God is required. If you allow this evolutionary process, for argument's sake, you admit it, where the evolutionary process is going to take? If the starting point was amoeba, then the progress should be below amoeba, right? If the starting point is here, it cannot go up because entropy. It has to go down and down and down and down. That's what we see that. Nothing is improving, everything is going down. We say intelligence is improving. Intelligence, man was using only less than 10% of his intelligence. No man has ever used more than 10% of his intelligence, scientists say. So 90% is not used. So if one man comes up and uses 15% of intelligence, he may do something. That's what happens. But then still is at entropy, because what Adam had only 1/10 or 1/15th or 1/20th of that one is only used by the brightest man, even Einstein, you know. They have taken the brain of Einstein's, and I think the University of Pennsylvania is still studying. I have read in some book to find out why Einstein is so smart. My problem is, if Einstein is so smart and smarter than you, then you're not going to find it out. Because your brain is not big enough to analyze that. Well, maybe Einstein had 20% of the intelligence God created. See, the sin principle, that alone can explain the entropy principle. Things were, the man God created in Genesis, and described in Genesis chapter 3, 2 and 3. 3, the sin came. Genesis chapter 2 was the perfect man. Eden was the perfect place. From Eden, Milton has written the epic poem, Paradise Lost and Paradise Gained, That's a nice one. If you haven't read it, I recommend you read it, Paradise Lost and Paradise Gained. Yeah. So Milton understood this. There was a paradise that was perfect. Now a paradise is going to come that's going to be perfect. But in between there is a lost paradise. It's not an improvement on anything. It's chaos. It's not cosmos. It's chaos. It's not order. It's disorderly. It's not beauty. It's ugliness. Everywhere you look at it. So evolution cannot be correct, because according to evolution everything must be improving. Everything must be improving. As every big bang must be bringing in. Even that big bang is using so much energy. After one big bang, where is the energy left for any constructive creation? It's very, very difficult. The second law of thermodynamics seems to describe the whole situation of our present material world perfectly, and the Bible very clearly confirms this description. Romans chapter 8 verses 22 and 23. You can just read Romans chapter 1 and you can see the moral entropy principle there. How man went down soon to what we see in the city of Bombay today, in Mumbai today. You can see there. Man is inventing new forms of pleasures and sin. Wasn't it yesterday? It was said in the newspaper. I have read in somewhere that, how by accidentally they have found out, they're performing some surgery or something on a woman, and the woman then, shouted, said that, you need to teach it to my husband. Because she was connected some machine somewhere, she was having multiple orgasm, and she said, hey, you need to teach it to my husband. So now they have invented that machine, they're going to sell it in the market, you can, without a husband, you can have orgasms. Well, man increased or decreased? It always, with every invention, it always goes down. What was the name of that man who was invented the AK-47, the Russian?
Alexander Kalashnikov.
Recently there's a statement that, he now really feels, bad that his invention has taken the life of hundreds and thousands of people, innocent lives, Well, even a Nobel, maybe, he started the Nobel Prize at least to make up for the dynamite and all that he has made. But any inventions other than inventions related to medicine or prolonging life or something, other than that, most of the inventions are destructive basically in nature. I like airplane and all those things, and I like them all, yes. But would you rather go back to the old time with the horse cart and the bullock cart? Where your world was limited to 20 or 25 kilometers. That was what it is. But everybody knew everybody. I still can't think about time. I walking from my house, 5 kilometers or 8 kilometers to my school, everybody will ask by my name, and don't Visheshami. Where are you going? What is happening? How is your daddy? How is mommy? And all that. Today I go 100 kilometers, 100, nobody even looks at me. Even the dogs doesn't mind. And what a life, awesome life. I become an impersonal being. Nothing. Before I had, certain amount of dignity, people knew me, they loved me, I had communication, I had, interrelationship and giving and taking and going and smiling and all those things. And we have improved. People don't have the energy to smile. They really don't have the energy to smile. Yeah, I tried to make some students to smile yesterday. I had real difficulty. I was teaching them Navarasam, how to use the Navarasas in preaching, If you know what Navarasas are, in Kathakali and all that, they use it. So I was teaching them. It was so difficult, It's the stereotype look. Whatever you say, big or small. No change of her. Even if you say your father died. That's the sort of thing. Before that, people had emotions, One day an older brother was gone somewhere for 3-4 years, then he returned home. So as soon as he came, he asked his younger brother, how is my parrot? How is my parrot? Oh, the younger brother, that's terrible. Your parrot, was killed by the cat. Oh, he said, you should not have told me straight like that. Should know my feelings. The younger brother, how should I have said it? You should have said that the parrot got out of the parrot cage. It flew on the housetop. We wanted to catch it. Then it flew on another spot. We wanted to catch it. He flew. Finally, it flew and flew. It flew right into the mouth of the cat. Oh, I would have some comfort. So he then asked, how is my mother? So the younger brother said, she climbed up on the house. You got the story. So, people have gone, to such a situation. Man has changed. Man has lost part of his humanity. Anyway, so Wilder Smith is so right to say that the first and second laws of thermodynamics basically gave the cremation of the evolution, Any sensible person cannot. The creationist position then is more in harmony with the true science than the evolutionary theory. Said that. Because you read the Bible, very clearly it is stated. God created a perfect earth, ideal earth, sin ended, the principle of entropy, degeneration, everything start going and it's going and going. And then very soon this earth is going to be destroyed because there will be no energy for it to move further. Then God is going to make another world which is not going to operate on center of gravity or, all those. There will be no sun, no moon, no stars, no sea, nothing. The glory of the face of the Lord Jesus Christ is going to illuminate the universe. Where man probably does not have no hunger, no thirst. It's a wonderful universe where we come back to the perfection of perfections. Where God and man exist in harmony. The nature is so ideal. So that perfect state is going to come. The evolutionists can never bring that perfect state. Because they don't have the energy to do it. You don't have the energy to do it. Where are you going to find energy? Because energy cannot be created, right? So where are you going to bring it? So evolution is a nonsense. Another problem with the evolution is the gene pool and the limits of change. The gene pool and the limits to change. Evolutionists believe that no breeding limit exists. That's their assumption. No breeding limit exists. Because evolution keep on. Progressing. They cannot even predict what will be, 1 billion years later, according to their theory, what will be on the earth. Man may be an extinct species. But who will be walking on the earth? Monkeys? But that's evolution going back. Evolution doesn't allow for going back. It has to be progressive. It cannot be regressive. So what will be? We don't know. We don't know.
They don't know.
They also don't know. They also don't know, Life forms must ultimately break all barriers to change. Then only new species will come. They see mutations as a proof for breaking limits. If time is given, mutations will bring a vast variety of new forms of life, they believe. That's what they think then. Mutations. True, mutations takes place. But the problem is, unfortunately, the evolutionists could never demonstrate the truthfulness of their theory. Mutations takes place but within fixed ranges. Whatever mutations will take to a virus, it remains a cold virus. It remains a cold virus. That's not going to be a virus that will cure your cold. The mutation will take on this virus. They say that there's so many kinds of virus, mutation is taking place, so you get it cold frequently again and again. But when is that virus going to become a new mutation where no more cold you suffer? That's when it is going to the positive side. That never happens. Mutations takes place in anything, You have mutations taken place for your grapes. God created grapes with seeds. Because Genesis very clearly says, I have given you trees and plants with seeds as food. He repeated underlines. Only with seeds as food. You have to eat only things that contain seeds. Actually, many of the seeds also you have to eat. Now they are taking the oil from the seeds and all that because they think that what man needs most is in the seeds. And if you eat the whole fruit, then you have no ill effect. The problem is, but they have made by mutation. But have you ever seen a grape wine through mutation give an apple? It's small grapes, big grapes, bright grapes, brown grapes, white grapes, black grapes, but it is grapes. That's the problem. So mutations take place only within the species. I believe God in the beginning created two dogs, a male and a female dogs. What breed it was, I don't know. German Shepherd, who knows? Great Dane, I don't know. But how many we have now? From these two dogs, how many kinds of dogs have come? Small one, big one, long one, short one, face with strange like bulldog face, and all kinds of face. But they are all dogs. That's the problem. They are all dogs. So that means that within the dog family you can have mutations, but you cannot, a cow cannot come out of dogs. And how many cows? In the beginning I think God created only 2 cows, one bull and a cow. Now what all you have? You have Swiss Brown, you have Angus, you have the Hershey's, and you have, you have all, how many kinds of cattle you have? Even in India you have the small mature cows. So many. But they are all cows. They are all cows. So what does it say? You can make variations by certain manipulations, but you cannot get out of the limits. You cannot get. Evolution, to be right, has to get out of the limit. Because from monkey, man has to come. So that mutation can only make monkey longer monkey, smaller monkey, bigger monkey, maybe you can say that beautiful monkey and less beautiful monkey, longer tail, shorter tails and all those things, but it still remains a monkey. God created only Adam and Eve. How many kinds of people we have now? Even looking here all around, how many kinds of people we have here? There are yellow people, there are black people, there are brown people, there are white people, there are all kinds of long people, short people, all kinds of people, but they are still what? People. They are still people. You never had any other kind of a superhuman or something came out of man. No. No, it's all. So that means that the evolution to be practical, what? From the small amoeba, from that sea of protoplasm, actually an amoeba came, from non-living living came, from single cell, multiple cells and more complex and compound forms and advanced forms and all that going on. But it never happens. It never happens. So the gene pool theory is not right because there is a limit to change. You can change, but a limit. Roses are no more roses. The color of rose was rose, but you have white rose, you have pink rose, you have red rose, you have yellow rose, right? But still, what are they? The rose. You're not going to make an orchid out of rose. No, you're never going to. So that is their theory. Then the gene pool theory is not working. So unfortunately, evolutionists could never demonstrate the truthfulness of their theory. Mutations takes place but within fixed ranges. Mutations are simply hereditary fluctuations around a medium position. A swing to the right, a swing to the left, but no final evolutionary effect. That's all. It goes this way, it goes this way. But maxima is that one. You can take the pendulum, you can stretch it, how far it go? Only that far. You cannot stretch it any far. You leave it, it comes there. It goes back. Then finally it comes and settles down. That's the problem with the evolutionist, If limits exist, then evolution is a myth. Any kind of limit exists because then evolution stops there. Just like you are driving on a road and then finally the road ends there. What do you have there? It's a river or a big ditch. You cannot go any further. Take your turn and go back. Well, then evolution is gone. When the moment you take a turn back and go, then it is retrospective, evolution. It cannot. So there is a limit. There is a limit. So far we have seen only the limit. I am only 72 years old. In 72 years, I have seen very many animals like you have seen. I have never seen one kind of animal species giving birth to another kind of animal. Never. Chicken, chicken. Ducks, ducks. Dogs, dogs. Cats, cats. Cows, cows. Buffaloes, buffaloes. Elephants, elephants. Never. You can crossbreed some, but stops there. You have ox fellows, oxes and buffaloes, but they cannot have children, they are sterile. You can mix horse and donkey, but that's the end of it. They cannot have children. So that means that mutations have limit. It has a limit. So if limit exists, then evolution is a myth. If a species can only evolve so far before it hits the barrier and is forced to remain the same species, then no macroevolution occurs, only microevolution. Macroevolution is necessary, then only from a monkey a man can come. Then only from a rabbit a horse can come. Microevolution is there, you have from a white cow you got a black cow. From a tall cow you got a short cow. That's no evolution there. That's the variations within the species. Yes. How many white parents have darker children? Yeah, you can have. Why? Because Adam and Eve had all their gene possibility, I won't say unlimited, but limited, but yet it was, unlimitedly limited. I mean, there was so much possibility was there. That's about that comes. One of your great grandfather may have been, had a Negro hair, and here you come with the Negro hair. He said, here, what's it? You saw that child? How come? No problem. No problem. It's only by God's grace He suppresses the moment of birth. He suppresses some of those possibilities. In Noah's 3 children, from Shem, Ham and Japheth, He didn't suppress. He allowed. let all the variations be possible. Then God just suppressed by His sovereign will, said that let the limits be limited so that there will be no family problems. No husband-wife fight. Otherwise there will be problem, So God graciously has done it. So the notion of the gene pool limiting the possible variation of species has troubled evolutionists. Even Alfred Russel Wallace, one of the founding fathers of the theory of natural selection, was troubled by this truth. Mendel's genetic laws clearly states the limits to change. You all have probably studied about Mendel's theory and all that. You have black peas and brown peas and all that, and you breed each other, and then what happens? You only have peas, you never have anything else. And even that's change. He can predict that. First generation, second generation, third generation, what will come. That means, the genes have limitations. You have limitations. So Wallace, aware of Mendel's genetic laws, later in life could not reconcile his theory with the limits of gene pooling. Wallace could not support his own theory in later years. All experiments with the gene mutations have proved the impossibility of breaking species limitation. Whatever change one could make, wheat remains wheat and peas remain peas. We no longer could grow wings on pigs than hens laying cylindrical eggs. A statement from David Noble, I thought it was very nice. I'm saying you can never. Every time you go to collect eggs from a chicken farm, you are not surprised by square eggs and cylindrical eggs and all. You always get eggs the same shape. Yes, because there are limitations. The creationists believe the evolutionary position is opposed to reason, and therefore we reject it. The truth is attested by this truth is attested by the fossil records. They talk about fossils and fossils. In some places, thousands of acres. In America, in the state of Texas, for example, over 1,000-mile long, fossil records are there. The deeper you dig, it's all filled with fossils. And they have digged and examined and examined and examined. They have not found any evidence for evolution. It discourages the evolutionist, Though they are not praying, though they are not believing in God, yet I think they start with a prayer. God, maybe today we will find some evidence. So fossil gaps and intermediate forms, theoretically evolution is impossible. But what about empirical evidence? Is there any evidence to suggest that evolution has happened actually? If evolution has actually happened, then the greatest evidence has to come from the fossils. Because that's where the evidence is there, Because nature has buried, through Genesis flood or other catastrophes, the nature has buried alive tens of thousands of all the species at the same time, When a mudslide happens and people are buried, not only people, cows and elephants and even little amoeba, everything will be. So when you dig it after 1,000 years, what are you going to get? You're supposed to get everything that existed. And sad, they get only what is existing now, or some species like maybe, that is extinct. Dinosaur. Yeah, dinosaur is extinct. So what? Dinosaur extinction simply say that we don't have dinosaur because they are extinct. It's not because they have all the dinosaurs evolved, because dinosaurs don't evolve. They don't. So if evolution has actually happened, the greatest proof will be there. Charles Darwin wrote, in his Origin of Species, I quote, "The geological record is extremely imperfect, and this fact will to a large extent explain why we do not find intermediate varieties, connecting together all the extinct and existing forms of life by the finest graduated steps. He who rejects these views on the nature of the geological record will rightly reject my whole theory." He knew that. Darwin knew that if you cannot prove from the fossils that intermediate species existed, and if you cannot prove it, then nobody is going to believe it. Who is going to believe it? How can they believe it? That needs more faith, right? Sorry, we don't have. We only have enough faith to believe that God created. When Darwin wrote these